let's dive right into this explainer of Surah Yasin, an ancient, spiritually profound text that is known across the Islamic world as a literal, spiritual defibrillator. We're going to be drawing directly from the theological texts and historical commentaries today to unpack the actual mechanics of this famous chapter. We really want to understand how it targets the absolute core of human skepticism and how it breathes life right back into faith.
So, if a book could have a heartbeat, what would that even sound like? I mean, think about it for a second. A physical heart pumps blood to keep your human body alive, right? And if that pumping stops, the body goes numb and eventually dies. Well, in the framework of these texts, the human soul operates the exact same way. It can suffer from spiritual numbness. It gets totally weighed down by the anxieties of daily life and all those material doubts about what actually happens after we die. Now, the Prophet Muhammad actually stated this explicitly. He said Surah Yasin is the heart of the Quran, and classical scholars point out exactly why that is. It's because it presents the core message of the entire religion in such a relentless, forceful manner that it is literally designed to break a person's inertness. It takes the most fundamental truths and just pumps them directly to the center of a believer's consciousness, essentially forcing a spiritually numb heart to beat again.
Now, you've got to remember, this wasn't just revealed in a vacuum. It's a Makkah surah, which means it dropped right into the middle of intense ideological warfare. The polytheists in Makkah weren't just passively disagreeing. They were actively mocking the very idea that a human could be a messenger or that dead bones could ever be resurrected. So this text, it isn't passive poetry. It's a meticulously structured argument meant to completely dismantle that exact mockery and defend three core pillars: the honest of God, prophethood, and the afterlife.
Moving into our first major theme, messengers and the believer, specifically looking at the parable of the town. Let's see how the text uses a historical mirror to show the reader the real consequences of rejecting clear evidence.
Just imagine the sheer courage this takes. You have a town that rejects not one, not two, but three divine messengers. But then this totally ordinary man, Habib al-Najjar, comes running from the farthest outskirts of the city. He has absolutely no elite status, and yet he stands up to his entire community to support the messenger's truth. He is brutally martyred for taking this stance, and the text tells us he instantly enters paradise. And here is the crazy part. His response? He says, "I wish my people could know how my Lord has forgiven me and placed me among the honored ones." Even after they literally trampled him to death, his very first words in paradise are a wish for his people's guidance. Instead of seeking revenge or celebrating their punishment, he just desperately wants them to see the truth. It beautifully shows that true conviction isn't about arrogance. It's about a deep, compassionate urgency to share the truth.
Okay, that's the human narrative. Let's zoom out now for our next section, cosmic signs of divine power. We're going from the heart straight to the cosmos.
Look out your window at the dead, barren earth in the winter. It's completely dry and lifeless, right? But then rain falls, and suddenly, boom, it's bursting with green crops that sustain our lives. The logic here is brilliant. If God can revive a dead seed into life-giving food, human resurrection is completely natural. The argument is that you are witnessing a form of resurrection every single time you look at nature. So why would the resurrection of human beings be any different? Then, the text shifts our gaze entirely upwards, it says. And a sign for them is the night, and the sun runs on its course. It's asking us to observe the sun running its course, the moon moving through its phases. These aren't just random events. They operate on incredibly strict, predictable schedules. If the universe is governed by such flawless, calculated precision, then the concept of a structured, calculated afterlife and day of judgment is entirely rational.
Which brings us to part 3, the reality of resurrection confronting the skeptic. All these historical parables and cosmic signs lead directly to this specific, unavoidable human anxiety: death. Picture this exact scenario. A guy brings a completely decayed bone to the prophet, crushes it into dust right in his hands, and mockingly asks, "Who will give life to bones while they are decomposed?" It's the ultimate materialistic argument, isn't it? Once we are reduced to basic elements, how could we possibly be assembled again? It's an existential question that we still ponder today. And here is the absolute mic drop response. Say, "He will give them life who produced them the first time." I mean, the logic is breathtakingly simple. The first creation from nothing, starting from a microscopic, insignificant drop of fluid, is vastly more complex than simply reassembling existing matter. By using the skeptic's very existence against them, the text completely outmaneuvers the doubt. So all of this culminates in one powerful concept:
kun fayakun, be and it is. It's the Creator's absolute, effortless, and instantaneous creative command. The Creator's power isn't constrained by human limitations or long, laborious processes. When He intends for something to happen, it is immediate. For the believer, this means that literally no obstacle, not even death, poses a challenge to that level of absolute divine authority.
All right, part 4, virtues, healing, and daily life. Let's look at the spiritual defibrillator in action and see how a believer actually applies this ancient wisdom today.
These actionable traditions actually map it out perfectly, showing how the text accompanies a person through almost every major transition, waking up, sleeping, even the final breath. Islamic traditions recommend reciting it in the morning to set the day's intention and seek the fulfillment of needs. At night, it's used as a really powerful tool for self-reflection and seeking forgiveness. And perhaps most profoundly, it is recited over the dying. Its rhythmic verses bring immense comfort, easing the soul's transition out of this world by reminding them of mercy and paradise.
And honestly, this text acts as a massive cure for our modern psychological anxieties. We are all plagued by FOMO today, right? The fear of missing out on fleeting trends, wealth, status. But internalizing Surah Yasin totally rewires your brain for JOMO, the joy of missing out on the temporary noise in favor of eternal peace. You are actively focusing on something permanent, which completely recalibrates your life priorities.
83. That's it. That is the total number of verses it takes to completely shatter the illusion that death is a final period, turning it instead into a mere comma. In just 83 verses, the text builds this absolute fortress of logic, history, and cosmic evidence that totally dismantles a strictly materialistic worldview. It takes a heart deadened by doubt and jolts it right back to vibrant, unshakable certainty. So I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. Amidst all the incredible descriptions of paradise, the absolute peak of existence is salam, receiving a direct, spoken greeting of peace from a merciful Lord. Think about that single word and what it actually takes to hear it. Are we ready to cut through the noise of the modern world to earn this ultimate hidden reward of profound peace? Thanks for joining me for this explainer.